All right, so now that you guys know all about the CRRC and what we're about, let's talk a little bit more about the product rating process. So when products are seeking a CRRC rating, the first thing that has to happen is that the company has to become a licensee. So I defined that earlier. Again, that's a roofing product manufacturer or supplier. They need to fill out this F1 form that we have to gather some basic information about them and set them up with a profile in the online rating portal. Once we have that information, the licensee will submit a product application in the portal and will send the specimens to one of our accredited independent test labs. One thing that I did not mention is that all of our independent test labs, test farms, all that information about testing is on our website. So again, one of the benefits of being an AITL is that you will have your information displayed on our website, so people will know that they can utilize you for testing. The third step is that the AITL, once they receive those specimens, are going to actually test them, and they can submit the test results to the online rating portal as well. Everything is kind of through the portal at this point. We've tried to go completely paperless. Once those results are reviewed and approved by me, CRC staff, the initial test results are then placed on the rated products directory. So again, that I showed a screenshot of that a little bit earlier. It's up here as well. That's what the consumers have available to them. And then also, as soon as they receive the initial test results and we've approved those, they can start using the label, which you see here. This is just an example. Until they receive the age results, it says pending here, but they would put the actual values for solar reflectance and thermal emittance here, as well as some identifying information about the CRRC rating. So once the initial testing portion is complete, then the specimens are sent from the AITL, directly from the AITL to the test farm. And there are 3 test farm sites. They're all in the U.S. It's Ohio, which is cold temperate, Arizona, which represents hot and dry weather, and Florida, which represents hot and humid. So the specimens are going to be placed at each of these sites for 3 full years to see how they hold up to the weathering process. So I just wanted to make a note here that in the context of the CRRC, when we talk about weathering or aging, it's not exactly the same thing. Aging is actually soiling plus weathering. So these are the 2 properties that we're really concerned with, and how we've designed the program is to take into account both of these items. So first is soiling. So that's actually referring to microbiological growth, and also dust and aerosols actually getting onto the specimens at the test farm. And also then the weathering portion is looking more at degradation, UV radiation, and just going through the process of seasonal changes, especially in Ohio, where you're going to have really cold winters and hot, humid summers. Obviously not as hot and humid as Florida, but there are still those temperature changes. So here's a photo of what the samples look like at the test farm. We've got a photo from QLab there at the top right, and then I believe the bottom left is Atlas. So the thing to note here is that top right photo has a 45-degree exposure angle that corresponds to steep slope. And then we have the 5 degrees at the bottom left, and that is to represent low slope. So when licensees submit their product application, they have to indicate if the product is for low slope, steep slope, or both, and then the products are weathered accordingly. So again, to kind of go through this process in a more clear stepwise fashion, as I mentioned, the test lab sends the specimens to the test farm no less than 28 days before the next exposure placement. So the test farm essentially places products every other month. So March 1st, May 1st, July 1st, so on. So it's basically we're giving the AITL 30 days to get those samples sent out. Some product types that can actually change their performance in terms of their testing. So again, we're trying to provide a fair, uniform schedule for these products to go out to the test farm. So then, as I mentioned, the products will go through the 3-year field exposure aging process, and then at the end of that 3 years, they are sent directly back to the test lab, the AITL, for age testing. Once the AITL receives the samples, they complete the age testing and again submit those results to the online rating portal. CRRC staff will review them, and then the aged results would be placed on the rated products directory to be available for consumers. As I mentioned before, there is this strict chain of custody between the AITL and the test farm. The samples should never go back to the licensee because we, again, don't want to have any issues with tampering and want to just provide an even playing field for everyone. The aged label is different from the initial. This would not say pending. It would have the actual values. So that would have to be updated in all the product literature as well. So we also have this rapid ratings program, which is an optional rating program that's based on ASTM D7897. So this process is in addition to 3-year aging. This doesn't replace the 3-year aging requirement. The rapid ratings values are just used in the interim. So basically, if people don't want to wait the full 3 years to have something to display on that label, they can elect to go through this rapid ratings process, which is then the results are placed on the CRRC rated products directory and also the product label. Once the end of the 3 years is up, and we have the age test results, then those will replace the rapid ratings values. But during that 3-year period, what is displayed is just the rapid ratings information, and that is accepted for Title 24 compliance in terms of the aged value as well. So it can be really valuable for licensees that don't want to wait that full 3 years to have something to show how their product performs. And just one side note about rapid ratings, we do actually have a completely separate training for rapid ratings because it is a little bit more involved, and we talk about just the soiling process. There's a specific soiling mixture that you use, the apparatus that you can build to do the soiling process. We also demonstrate using the weathering machine and things like that. So that is a full day in and of itself. So we're not going to be going over that during the lab training on July 10th. But just keep in mind, if you have interest in attending a rapid ratings lab training, feel free to let me know and we can add you to the waiting list for that. Okay, so again, this is our rated products directory here. I showed a brief screenshot of that before. So what I want to do actually is go to the directory and walk you guys through it a little bit. So if you want to use the filters, we do offer a way to look up products by product type, product color. If you're looking for a product that has a specific performance, like a solar reflectance of, let's say, 0.5 or more, you can see in real time it will actually update the search results. You can actually search by licensee in this drop-down menu. You can also search by low slope or steep slope. And then We have some licensees that only sell to other roofing manufacturers. So, if you wanted to see that, you could do that here. Or also, if you just want to see products that are actually going directly to the end user, you can select this here. So you can see I added a couple of filters here, and it filtered the results down from about 3,000 down to 5. So that's a little bit more manageable. We can scroll down here and see we have the CRRC product ID, which is the unique 8-digit identifier that we use for any rated product. The first 4 digits always correspond to the licensee. So you'll see that Clay Tile Venture was assigned 0972. And then the last 4 digits are just basically the order that the product is rated. So this is their 10th product that they rated. That's not important to anyone but us, basically. And also, this is the piece of information that's key if you have any questions about a specific product. Providing the CRRC product ID will make sure that we're both talking about the same product because it is a unique identifier. We also have the brand and model number available, as well as the product type and color. Then here is kind of the meat of the directory, the solar reflectance, the thermal emittance, and the SRI. So we've already talked about the solar reflectance and the thermal emittance. We have the initial and the 3-year aged values here. If the product was tested with rapid ratings, the number would have an asterisk at the end of it in the aged column here. So none of these products have been tested with rapid ratings. These are actual aged values, but just keep that in mind. If you're ever using the directory and you see an asterisk, that is what that means. The SRI is a calculated value. It's based off of ASTM E1980. And it uses the solar reflectance and thermal emittance and some math to get this number here. It's a number from 0 to 100, although because of how the calculation is, the number can actually be above 100. So just keep that in mind. But in general, a higher number would mean a roof that has a higher solar reflectance and thermal emittance. So they are generally correlated in that way. Obviously, there's some more nuance to that, but taking a more simplistic view, that's what that is. We also have the ability for users to export a list of all the products. So if you do need to do some sort of analysis or, you just want to do more filtering on your own, we do have the option for you to do that. We also, if you click on the little plus sign here, it brings up a little bubble that provides you with information about the initial test methods and also a contact for that product. So let's say you're a specifier or designer and you want more information about this product than what we're providing as the CRRC, you can actually directly contact the licensee there. So I encourage everyone to visit that directory and play around with it a little bit just to get an idea of the products that we have had rated with us and things like that. And again, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about how the directory works and things like that. I guess the last thing I would note is that it is directly related to the online rating portal. So if there's a change in the portal, the directory will also update kind of in real time. So the last thing I wanted to mention here is that, again, we do have this label and rated product logo. There are specific guidelines for proper use of both of these documents. The label, of course, can be customized to provide the specific information about the rated product, but it always has this disclaimer in this general format. We do provide a template for licensees who need to use this. We also have the rated products logo here on the right. And again, there are guidelines for using this properly, and part of becoming a licensee is actually signing a agreement that basically says you agree to the terms of use for the logo.